Hi, my name is Sue Robbins. I'm going to be reading you a chapter from my book that's called Bird's Eye View: Stories of a Life Lived in Healthcare. This chapter is called All the Warm Blankets: Examples of How Simple Kindnesses Make a Big Difference. And did you get what you wanted from this life? Even so, I did. And what did you want? To call myself beloved, to feel myself beloved on the earth. That's a poem by Raymond Carver. I remember every single act of kindness I've encountered in health settings over the past few years. The images are embedded in my head like bright glowing lights. I revisit them often to comfort me in times of distress and rekindle my hope in healthcare when my hope begins to wane. At 4 a.m. when I am dozing in the chair beside my son in the emergency room, I am grateful for the nurse who covered me up with a warm blanket. The warm blankets are my symbol for kindnesses in healthcare, and they mean the world to me. There are so many ways to share simple acts of kindness, even in public spaces and hospitals. I can think of the senior administrator who always lets patients in and out of the elevators first, the nurse who lets families bump in line in front of her in the coffee lineup, people who make eye contact and smile at patients in the hallway, comment on cute babies in elevators, and hold doors open for strollers and wheelchairs. Any family or student who take the time to help a lost patient or family. Even better, the staff who escort lost folks directly to their destination in the hospital. If every staff member and student committed to doing one simple act of kindness every single day for a patient in the hospital corridors and lobbies, imagine what kind of environment would be created in what is often a rushed, stressful, and confusing place. Really, anybody working in a healthcare setting, parking lot attendants, cafeteria workers, receptionists, clinicians, has the choices to make in every encounter with a patient 12 times a day. Do they respond neutrally because they're hiding behind professionalism? Do they respond with cruelness to assert their power over the vulnerable patient? Or do they respond as a healer with demonstrated compassion for those they signed up to serve? Demonstrated compassion translates into acts of kindness. One day, the occupational therapist who supported my son Aaron when he was a toddler looked me in the eye and unexpectedly said, "You are doing a great job as Aaron's mom." I responded to her sentiment by bursting into grateful tears. Then there was the OR nurse who ushered me out the door after Aaron was anesthetized for surgery. She put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Don't worry, we'll take very good care of him for you." A mammogram technologist stroked my arm while I was administered the sharp freezing for my breast biopsy. Later, she tenderly brushed my hair when it fell into my face, causing instant tears to well up in my eyes and slowly drip onto the green hospital pillow. Our family doctor once called me out of the blue just to see how Aaron was doing when he was going through a rough spell. This seems like a little thing, but it was a big thing to me. When Aaron was hospitalized with pneumonia, he was lucky enough to have an exceptional student nurse assigned to his care. She joked with him, high-fived him, and patiently sat with him on the bed when he took his inhaler meds. I later took the time to write a thank you note to her and sent a copy to her instructor. Even if the system doesn't reward kindnesses, it doesn't mean we can't recognize and acknowledge tender care. During Aaron's hospital stay, a pediatric resident wrote his name on the whiteboard in the room so we wouldn't feel foolish if we forgot his name. A child life volunteer took the time to gown up to come into Aaron's isolation room to fix his video console. An aide stayed with my sleeping boy early one morning so I could run down to get a desperately needed cup of coffee. The nurse on night shift tiptoed around with a flashlight, minimizing disturbances while making rounds. None of this is counted by hospital funders, but all of it matters to me. A kind manner does not take more time, and it is also free. This is my call to the return of the old-fashioned notion of bedside manner. The simple stuff matters every single time. Kindness is not about being nice. It is a demonstration of compassion that is at the core of patient and family-centered care. We are all softened by compassion. It rubs out the hard edges in this messed up, beautiful world. Give us your kindnesses in any form they take. They are a salve for my wounds, if only for a moment.